The front door was closed. But it was not locked. That small mistake changed everything. It was 2:17 a.m. when Daniel woke up. He didn't know why he woke up, he just did. His heart felt heavy, like something was wrong. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No wind. No traffic. No sound. Then he heard it. A soft click. Not loud enough to be a bang. Not sharp enough to be a knock. It came from downstairs. Daniel sat up in bed, holding his breath. His wife, Emily, was sleeping beside him. Their 6-year-old daughter, Lily, was in the room across the hall. Probably nothing, he whispered to himself. But his body didn't believe that. Daniel slowly got out of bed and walked to the bedroom door. The hallway was dark. He looked down the stairs. That's when he saw it. The front door was open, just a few inches. Cold air moved inside the house. Daniel felt his stomach drop. He clearly remembered closing the door before going to sleep. But had he locked it? He couldn't remember. That thought terrified him more than the open door itself. Then he heard footsteps. Slow. Careful. Human. Someone was inside the house. Daniel quietly closed the bedroom door and locked it. His hands were shaking now. He gently woke Emily. "Someone's in the house," he whispered. Emily froze. Her eyes widened but she didn't scream. Mothers have a strange instinct, fear mixed with control. A low whisper. "Hello." It was calm. Too calm. Daniel's heart started racing. The voice belonged to a man, not drunk, not panicked. He sounded confident. "I know someone's home," the man said softly. Emily quietly opened the window in the bedroom and whispered, "We can climb out." But Lily. Their daughter. Her bedroom door was halfway open. Daniel made a decision that would stay with him forever. "I'm going for Lily," he whispered. Emily grabbed his arm. Her eyes were full of fear and tears. But she nodded. She knew there was no other choice. Daniel stepped forward. The floor creaked. The whisper downstairs stopped. The man knew exactly where Daniel was now. Daniel walked slowly toward Lily's room. Every step felt loud. His ears were ringing. His chest burned with fear. He reached the door. Lily was asleep. Daniel gently shook her shoulder. Her eyes opened. "Daddy?" "Shoo," he whispered. "Come with me." "Quiet." She nodded, confused but calm. As Daniel lifted Lily into his arms, a loud sound came from downstairs. A drawer slammed shut. The intruder was no longer hiding. He was searching. Daniel moved back toward the bedroom as fast as he could without running. The moment he closed the door, footsteps rushed toward the stairs. Fast. Heavy. Angry. The intruder was coming up. Emily opened the bedroom window fully. Cold rain rushed inside. "Hurry," she whispered. Daniel handed Lily to Emily, who helped her climb. As his feet hit the wet ground outside, the door behind him splintered. The intruder had broken in fully. They ran into the darkness. Barefoot. Soaked. Screaming for help. Neighbors called the police. By the time officers arrived, the intruder was gone. Inside the house, drawers were open. Furniture overturned. A knife from the kitchen was missing. But nothing was stolen. Because theft was never the reason. The police said the house was safe. But Daniel couldn't stop thinking about one thing. The intruder knew their house. The family spent that night at a neighbor's home. Emily held Lily tightly, afraid to let her go even for a second. Lily didn't cry. She didn't speak much either. She just stared at the wall like she was still listening for footsteps. Daniel sat on the couch, shaking. His hands still smelled like rain and dirt. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the man's smile at the end of the hallway. That smile wasn't confused. It wasn't scared. It was familiar. At 6:40 a.m., the police called Daniel back to the house. "Sir, we need you to come down here," the officer said. "There's something you should see." Daniel felt a cold weight in his chest. When they arrived, yellow tape surrounded the house. Officers were moving in and out. The front door was broken almost in half. Inside, the house looked wrong. Not messy. Not robbed. Targeted. Drawers were pulled out, but not searched. Pictures on the wall were removed and placed gently on the floor. The intruder hadn't rushed. He had taken his time. Did he steal anything? Daniel asked. The officer shook his head. No valuables missing. No electronics. No cash. Then why was he here? Emily asked. The officer hesitated. That's what worries us. In the kitchen, Daniel noticed something that made his heart sink. A piece of paper lay on the table. It was folded neatly. The officer put on gloves and opened it. Inside was a hand-drawn floor plan of the house. Every room was labeled, including Lily's bedroom. Emily let out a 3 months ago, their previous house had flooded. During repairs, a man named Mark had stayed with them for 2 weeks. He was a quiet guy. Polite. Helpful. He fixed things around the house. He ate dinner with them. Lily liked him. Daniel remembered Mark leaving early one morning. He said he found a job in another city. Daniel had never seen him again. Or so he thought. The police pulled up a photo on a tablet. Is this him? Daniel's blood ran cold. It was the man from the hallway. Same eyes. Same face. Emily collapsed into a chair. Why? She whispered. Why us? The officer answered softly. Because he already felt like this was his home. That afternoon, they learned the truth. Mark had been living out of his car. He had no family. No stable job. During his stay, he had secretly copied the house key. He memorized their routines. Their sleep patterns. He didn't break in to steal. He broke in to return. The police found Mark 2 days later hiding in an abandoned building. Inside his backpack were photos of the house. Photos of Emily. Photos of Lily. And a notebook. Daniel was warned not to read it. But he did. The pages were filled with sentences like, "This is where I belong. They took my place. She should be my daughter." Daniel dropped the notebook and threw up. Mark confessed calmly. "I just wanted to talk," he said. The same words he had shouted behind the door. But the police found something worse. In his pocket was the missing kitchen knife. And sometimes, when the house is quiet. Too quiet. Daniel still hears that whisper in his head. You should have stayed in bed. The doors were locked. The windows were closed. But the intruder was already inside the house. Sarah believed she was safe. It was a small apartment on the 3rd floor of an old building. One door. One narrow hallway. No balcony. No easy way in. She checked the lock every night, twice. That night was no different. At 11:45 p.m., Sarah locked the door, turned off the lights, and went to bed. Her phone buzzed once. A message from her sister. Call me tomorrow. Sarah replied with a heart emoji and placed the phone on her nightstand. She fell asleep quickly. She had no idea someone was watching her breathe. At 1:02 a.m., a sound woke her. Not loud. Not sudden. A slow exhale. Sarah opened her eyes. The room was dark, but she felt something was wrong. The air felt occupied. Like she wasn't alone. She listened. Then she heard it again. Breathing. Not hers. It was coming from the corner of the room. Her heart began to pound so hard it hurt. She stayed still, pretending to sleep. Her mind screamed at her to run, but her body refused to move. A shape shifted in the darkness. Someone was standing near her closet. "How long?" a man's voice whispered. Sarah wanted to scream. She couldn't. Her throat felt locked. "How long have you been alone?" he asked again. His voice was calm. Curious. Terrifying. Sarah reached slowly for her phone under the blanket. The screen lit up for just a second. That second was enough. The man stepped forward. "Don't call anyone," he said. "I just needed somewhere warm," he said. "Somewhere quiet." Sarah realized something worse. He wasn't panicking. He was comfortable. Her phone buzzed again. The man's eyes snapped toward it. "Who is that?" he asked. "My sister," Sarah said, her voice shaking. "Don't answer." The phone stopped buzzing. The silence returned. The man sat on the edge of her bed. The mattress dipped. Sarah felt trapped. "I watched you all evening," he said. "You seem kind." Tears ran down her face. "Please leave," she whispered. He shook his head slowly. "I can't," he said. "They'll find me." Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside the apartment. Voices. The man stiffened. "They're here," he whispered. Before Sarah could ask who, the man stood up and moved toward the window. He opened it carefully and climbed out onto the narrow ledge. Just as police knocked on the door. "Police!" a voice shouted. Sarah ran to the door, screaming. She opened it and collapsed into an officer's arms. "I wasn't alone," she cried. He was inside. The officers searched the apartment. The bathroom. The closet. Under the bed. Nothing. The window was open. They found him 2 blocks away. Hiding behind dumpsters. A homeless man with severe mental illness. He had no weapon. But he had something worse. Time. Time inside her home. Sometimes, the camera doesn't lie. But by the time you see it, it's already too late. James prided himself on being careful. He had a large suburban home, with alarm systems, motion sensors, and cameras everywhere. Every door was locked, every window secured. He even tested the alarm every month. Nothing could get past him. At least, that's what he thought. It was 10:30 p.m. when James checked the security feed one last time. The house looked normal. Empty living room. Empty kitchen. The backyard gate locked. Satisfied, he turned off the monitor and went to bed. Then his dog, Rex, started barking. It wasn't a normal bark. It was frantic. Urgent. Something was wrong. James got up and peered out the bedroom window. Nothing. The backyard was quiet. He chalked it up to a raccoon or maybe a stray cat. Around 11:15 p.m., the alarm system went off. Red lights flashed in the hallway. The siren screamed. James grabbed his phone and saw a notification. Motion detected in the basement. Heart racing, he slowly descended the stairs, trying not to make any noise. The basement door was closed. Locked. But when he reached it, the handle was warm. Someone had been there. James opened the door cautiously. Nothing. Everything looked normal. The lights were off. No shadows. No footprints. He shook his head. False alarm, he muttered. Then he noticed the camera feed. On the monitor, in the corner, James didn't scream. He didn't call 911 immediately. He watched in horror. The man moved to the kitchen. Took a knife from the block. Held it casually, like it was a toy. Then, the intruder sat at the kitchen table. Relaxed. Smiled. He seemed almost comfortable. It was as if he had been living there unnoticed for weeks. James finally dialed 911. By the time the police arrived, the intruder had vanished. The strange part? Nothing was stolen. The house looked untouched, except for the knife missing from the block. No fingerprints. No footprints. Just a lingering sense of dread. The police reviewed the security footage carefully. They noticed something chilling. The man had entered through a service hatch in the attic, a small panel James had never thought to lock. He had been inside the house unnoticed, moving around while James slept. Watching. Learning. Waiting. For what? The police couldn't say. James installed more cameras. Motion sensors on the ceiling. Locks on every single panel. Yet, the feeling never left. Every time he heard the click of a lock, every time Rex barked at nothing, James thought of the man in the kitchen. Sitting. Smiling. Whispering, "I see you." Weeks later, James received a package. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid. It was a photo of him, sleeping. The knife from the kitchen block was in the foreground. No note. Just the image. From that day on, James never felt safe in his own home. He moved eventually, but every new house felt temporary. The camera